Across vast seas and waterways that once seemed to divide everything, people have built roads where there is no land. China's sea crossing projects are not just bridges, railways, or massive links. They are symbols of ambition, connecting economic regions, shortening travel time, and opening journeys that once felt almost impossible. But what lies behind their breathtaking appearance? Engineering, cost, risk, and little-known stories are waiting to be uncovered. Qingdao Bay Bridge. At first glance, this bridge does not look like a normal road. It feels more like a man-made horizon, a long line of concrete and steel stretching quietly across the open sea. Built to connect Qingdao with Huangdao, it turned the bay from a natural barrier into a direct route between two important parts of the city. Before it existed, drivers had to travel around the water, following a longer and slower route shaped by the coastline. But after the bridge opened, that wide stretch of sea became a fast corridor for daily traffic, business, and urban connection. What makes it impressive is not only its scale, but also the environment it must survive. Standing above open water, it faces salt, wind, waves, and changing weather every day. Its materials were chosen to resist seawater corrosion, and the whole structure was designed to last at least 100 years. Between Shenzhen and Zhongshan, the Pearl River Delta is not just a stretch of water. It is a busy zone of ships, trade routes, strong currents, and fast-growing cities pressing closer to the sea. In the middle of this difficult environment, the Shenzhen-Zhongshan Link was built as one of China's most complex cross-sea engineering projects. This major connection brings together two important cities, Shenzhen and Zhongshan, across one of Asia's most active economic regions. Instead of leaving vehicles to travel a much longer route around the delta, the project creates a direct passage across the water, helping shorten distance and strengthen movement between both sides. This is not simply a road built over the sea. Stretching about 49 kilometers, or just over 30 miles, the project works as a complete transportation system, combining bridges, underwater tunnels, and artificial islands into one continuous route. Each part of the link was created to solve a different challenge. The bridges carry vehicles across open water. The underwater tunnel allows large ships to continue moving above the route. And the artificial islands serve as transition points, helping connect the bridge sections with the tunnel beneath the sea. Shiziguan Floating Bridge, Hubei. In the mountains of Hubei province, the Shiziguan Floating Bridge creates one of the most unusual driving experiences in China. This is not a bridge that rises high above the river on massive concrete pillars, steel towers, or heavy supports. Instead, it rests directly on the surface of the Qingjiang River, giving visitors the strange feeling that they are driving straight across the water. From the moment a car begins to move onto the bridge, the experience feels different from an ordinary road, because the river is not just something below the structure. It becomes part of the journey itself. The bridge is located in Shuanan County, inside the scenic Shiziguan area near Enshi. Around it, green mountains rise on both sides, while the calm river bends gently through the valley. Because of this peaceful setting, the bridge does not look like a typical piece of large infrastructure. It does not feel heavy, harsh, or separated from the landscape. From above, the route appears like a narrow wooden path curving softly through the middle of the water, almost as if someone had drawn a road across the river without disturbing the scenery around it. What makes the structure especially interesting is the way it is supported. Beneath the deck, floating pontoons hold the road on the surface, allowing it to move with the river instead of standing rigidly against it. That design is what makes the crossing feel so unusual. Cars and pedestrians seem to glide across the water, while small ripples spread outward on both sides, turning a simple crossing into something surprisingly graceful. Unlike inland railways that cut through valleys or plains, the Fuzhou-Xiamen Railway follows China's Fujian coast and crosses open water near the Taiwan Strait. Stretching roughly 172 miles, it is known as China's first cross-sea high-speed railway, with trains designed to run up to 217 miles per hour. Its challenge was not only speed, but the sea itself. Engineers had to build long overwater bridges, coastal structures, and mountain tunnels while accounting for typhoons, strong sea winds, ocean currents, and corrosive salty air. For passengers, the line creates a rare high-speed rail experience, gliding beside the ocean as bridges, coastline, and water move past the window. In the end, the Fuzhou-Xiamen line turns a difficult maritime landscape into a smooth modern corridor, showing how modern rail can adapt to geography instead of avoiding it. Across the waters of the Pearl River Delta, the Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge stands as one of the most ambitious sea-crossing projects ever built. This enormous system connects three major cities, Hong Kong, Macau, and Zhuhai, transforming what used to be a long journey around the delta into a direct route across the sea. But this is not simply one bridge stretching over the water. It is a complete transportation system made of sea bridges, an underwater tunnel, and artificial islands, all designed to connect smoothly as one continuous route. In this part of southern China, the waters are busy with ships moving through one of Asia's most important marine corridors. That created a major challenge for engineers. How could vehicles cross the sea without blocking the large vessels that pass through these waters every day? In Wuhan, the Yangtze River is not just a natural boundary. It is a powerful line running through the city, separating districts, shaping traffic, and forcing engineers to think on a much larger scale. To cross this wide river, Wuhan did not build an ordinary bridge. It built the Yangsigang Suspension Bridge, one of the most impressive double-deck suspension bridges in the world. The bridge connects the Hanyang and Wuchang districts, helping vehicles move across one of China's most important urban rivers with greater speed and efficiency. With a main span of about 1,700 meters and a total length of more than 4 kilometers, it stands as a massive piece of infrastructure built for a city that keeps expanding on both sides of the Yangtze. What makes the bridge especially remarkable is its double-deck design. Instead of carrying traffic on only one level, it uses 2 stacked road decks, allowing more vehicles to cross the river while using the same basic bridge corridor. Danyang-Kunshan Grand Bridge. Across the flat, water-filled landscape of eastern China, the Danyang-Kunshan Grand Bridge stretches farther than most people can easily imagine. Running for about 165 kilometers, or roughly 103 miles, it is known as the longest bridge in the world. But this is not the kind of bridge built only to cross a single river, canyon, or valley. It functions more like a continuous viaduct, carrying high-speed trains across the Yangtze River Delta, one of the busiest, most developed, and most economically important regions in China. Below the bridge, the landscape is constantly changing. There are rivers, canals, wetlands, rice fields, highways, towns, and industrial areas, all packed into the same region. Instead of making the railway bend, slow down, or stop for every obstacle on the ground, the bridge raises the entire route above the landscape. Beijing-Hangzhou Grand Canal. Leaving the freezing, profoundly thin air of the sacred mountain peaks completely behind in the swirling mist, our expedition now descends gracefully into the lush, heavily saturated eastern plains, tracing the historic path of the absolute most astonishing engineering marvel of the ancient aquatic world. You are currently looking at the Beijing-Hangzhou Grand Canal, a monumental flowing artery of human ambition that aggressively and violently slices through the Chinese landscape for a staggering 1,700 kilometers. To truly comprehend the mind-bending, overwhelming scale of this artificial waterway, you must completely abandon all modern concepts of heavy excavation machinery. Over 2.5 millennia ago, an unimaginable workforce consisting of millions of desperate laborers, conscripted peasants, and weary soldiers systematically carved this colossal trench entirely by hand. They painstakingly removed millions of tons of heavy wet earth, using nothing more than primitive iron tools and woven wooden baskets. This unfathomable aquatic highway was deliberately engineered to connect the political stronghold of the north with the incredibly fertile, wealthy agricultural regions of the south, forcefully overcoming natural mountain barriers and fundamentally altering the economic destiny of an entire empire. As you slowly drift along the remarkably calm, mirror-like surface of the canal on a traditional wooden boat, you are deeply immersed in a profound, sweeping historical narrative. The ancient, meticulously laid stone embankments are heavily lined with gracefully swaying weeping willows that gently dip their slender green branches directly into the dark, jade-colored water. For countless centuries, this waterway was the undisputed, bustling lifeblood of the nation, relentlessly carrying a staggering fleet of over 150,000 heavy wooden cargo ships every single year. These massive vessels constantly transported millions of tons of vital grain, luxurious silks, and precious ceramics, directly fueling the explosive growth and unimaginable wealth of historic cities like Suzhou and Yangzhou. Walking along the historic towpaths where exhausted men and beasts of burden once violently strained against heavy ropes to pull massive imperial barges, you can almost physically feel the heavy, lingering exhaustion of the past echoing through the mist. The intricate network of highly advanced ancient locks and water diversion systems required to maintain consistent water levels across varying elevations proves that these ancient engineers possessed a terrifyingly precise understanding of hydrology. Even today, as you glide beneath the incredibly elegant, steeply arched stone bridges that have stubbornly survived the aggressive passage of time, the atmosphere remains deeply intoxicating. As the sun begins its slow, heavy descent, painting the sky in intense, fiery shades of orange and bruised purple, thousands of traditional red silk lanterns begin to glow warmly along the narrow, bustling waterfront alleys. Their vibrant, flickering light casts long, dancing reflections across the gently rippling water, creating a deeply mesmerizing, hypnotic visual symphony. The distant, rhythmic splashing of wooden oars and the faint, echoing melodies of ancient folk songs floating through the humid night air completely transport your mind back to an era of imperial grandeur. The Grand Canal is not merely a static, forgotten relic. It is a continuously breathing, vital watercourse that stands as a stunning, undeniable testament to the unparalleled logistical genius and relentless, backbreaking endurance of the ancient Chinese civilization.